What's up and welcome back to the Unreal Podcast. I got a special guest today if you want to introduce yourself.
Ayo, baby. Alex Simmons in the building. We are here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming out, man. And also, you are sick. Let me tell you something, man. It's been a lot of shit going around. Yeah, everybody getting sick.
It's horrible, dude.
But I appreciate you braving out and coming out here, man.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, we can't get you singing, but listen, that's just another reason y'all got to go check it out. And trust me, no bullshit, some of my favorite music, man, for real.
I appreciate it.
Now, I've been a big R&B fan. I really like R&B and like kind of like alternative R&B, hip hop, and type of shit like that.
Yeah.
And that's like right exactly what you're doing. So we'll get into that stuff. But first and foremost, man, how did you get into music?
I since I was 5 years old, dude. Honestly, my mom was big on music. She used to have a boyfriend when she was younger that DJ'd parties, you know. And she's just always been a music head. She used to sing in church, so she kind of like raised us up on music. My brothers and I have two brothers. And she used to. I remember I was probably about 5 years old, and she like used to put me and my brothers in like a line in the living room and literally go like Joe Jackson style, not as harsh or whatever, but like would line us up and like teach us songs and give us notes to hold and stuff like that. And like my brother and I, Courtney, like we loved it. We gravitated to it. My other brother was more so into basketball. But just kept doing it. Listened to a lot of Whitney Houston, a lot of Usher, Celine Dion.
That's the classic stuff, man.
You know, Boyz II Men, a lot of people, and yeah, I just kept doing it, and that's kind of how I got started.
Now, first of all, shout out to your mother, man. Her name is Imogene, correct?
Yes.
And I was watching. She has a podcast, and she was talking about how she was a teacher, which is why it don't surprise me at all that she, you know, did what she had to do for you guys. I think that's really cool, you know, because just leading and teaching in and of itself is a skill, man. And also, no, for real, like our teachers, overworked, underpaid. But that's a conversation for another day. But
yeah, man.
But so I know that your mother does some cool stuff. So it's cool that she was involved in that. So when did you first get into when did you make your first single? I guess what was your first single?
My first single that's funny because I guess my first official single was a single entitled Bedroom. Mm-hmm. I released that in 2017. When I listen to it now, oh my god, it's horrible.
Oh, you listen, you're like, oh, this shit is trash. But at the time, you're like, this shit bumps, right?
Dude, that's what. And it's funny because the first project that I put out was a project called Woke. WOKE, walking out, killing everything, and I was just so excited to just be putting music out, you know, and I kind of rushed it. I just wanted to get something out there. But my first single was Bedroom. I released that in 2017. I followed it up with a song called Zone, my heartbreak song, and I just dropped the entire project. And now we're here and we have the new one. And when I listen to the old one, the new one makes the old one.
In comparison, it makes it seem like trash, right?
Absolutely. So I'm excited.
So now when you talk about, this is an interesting concept I love to talk about people. You said that at the time when you first started doing it, you kind of were rushing stuff just to get stuff out.
Right.
So learning from that, do you still, now that's the interesting thing is like there's, on one hand, you want to get stuff out as quickly as possible.
Right.
But on another hand, you want to put out a quality product.
Absolutely.
So do you take the time? Now, in my opinion, as a consumer, I would rather wait the extra couple months or however long it takes for the better product. Because the thing is, there's so much of everything. Like, if you took an extra 6 months to make your music, I would be upset for a day or two. And then I'm going to listen to other music. And then 6 months go by and I'm like, oh, shit, there goes the Alex Simmons project. And now it's fire.
Right.
So do you think it's worth it to wait and put out a better product? Do you think it's better to get things out quicker, you know, for fan demand, or you kind of got that healthy balance?
I feel like it's important to find that sweet spot because, I mean, I like to take my time, but a lot of times the unfortunate part about waiting too long is that there are so many artists out, and we kind of live in a microwave society where it's like people want stuff now quick and fast, and you could be here today and gone tonight, you know, and people forget about you. So you want to stay consistent and giving the people music, but at the same time, you don't want to oversaturate.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like finding that balance and that sweet spot, you know?
That was something tough for me just with anything that I was doing, was that it was like, and most people probably don't even know, like, so my first interview this year was my 35th or 36th episode of the podcast. And previously it was just me talking about myself, and it was just getting tough. Like, talking about yourself for an hour a week is actually really hard, especially to keep it entertaining, because I'm like, I'm not going to do it just to do it. But, you know, a lot of people don't realize it's like there was all of that, you know, to begin with, but it's, I feel you on that. Like, you want to put stuff out, but you also don't want to oversaturate, because then you kind of, like, for example, when Chris Brown puts out his Heartbreak on a full moon, I mean, I love that album, but it took me months to get through it.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's one of my favorite artists.
Me
and
too.
I was like, Jesus, like it took a while.
And I love him, but I'm like, yo, this is a little bit too much.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm like, if I see a project with like 6 or 8 tracks, I'm like, damn. So for me personally, as like a fan, as a consumer, I want something that's like that. like 14 to 18 range. I think personally that's a good balance. I'm not in the space of music at all, but just as a listener, I'm like, that's a good amount because it's something you can actually listen to and process. I like to listen to the music too, right? So I used to never do this. I used to listen to albums on shuffle, which is so weird. But now I listen through because a lot of times, and you could touch on this, when you put an album together, the sequence of the tracks is incredibly important, right?
Absolutely.
So this project that you have out right now is called Don't Forget.
Yes.
And when did you drop that? And tell me a little bit about some of those tracks, what the single off of it was. Give me a little insight on that.
I dropped Don't Forget December 13th, Friday the 13th. I'll never forget. I was supposed to drop it November 15th, which is the day before my birthday. 10 songs on it. I moved the release date because Tory Lanez dropped Chicks Tape 5.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I was like, I'm not dropping the same day as Tory Lanez.
That's
like,
smart, though, honestly.
Yeah. I was like, I want my own date, you know? So, but I moved it. I led with a single entitled No Games, featuring my brother Courtney Simmons. Shout out Courtney Simmons if you're watching. And yeah, we did a video to it, and I think probably about a week before the project actually came out, I just started dropping just songs here and there from the project. I was like, I'll give y'all a little something a little early, you know. But the official project came out December 13th.
Now, you talk about your brother, and I know you had your brother on there. You also had your mother do like a little spoken piece, right, in one of the songs. How important was it to you, or how meaningful is it to you to have your family be part of it?
It's really important to me because that's where it all started, you know. And my family, I have a very talented family. Like you said, my mom's a teacher. My mom sings, and we actually did funny enough, we did a little cipher to Chris Brown and Drake No Guidance. We did like a little cipher, whatever, where I got my mom rapping, and it was cool. So, but it's really important because, you know, my family, they ride for me. They support me during, you know, for the music, and they make sure that I'm good and make sure that you know, they help me create a space to where I can pursue my dreams. So
absolutely,
it's like, yo, I want them to be a part of anything that I do musically. You know?
Yeah, and that's dope too, because like I said, I mean, you know, people who know you, and then people who can just do the research on you. When I see stuff like that, I think that's really cool. Like when I see anybody involve their friends and their family, you know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I think that's cool. You know, of course, you want to make sure that it's good, and your brother's good. Honestly, I think. I would say that, and then the track with Donovan Owens, right?
Yeah.
Those I think are my two favorite off the album, because I was listening through it, and you know, I posted the Donovan one the other day. I just really that one just I just rock with that.
Those
it's
guys
just a good vibe. Man.
Honestly, I'd have to say my brother Courtney Simmons and Donovan Owens probably the best vocalists that I know personally, and I know a lot of guys like those guys can really sing.
Yeah, and it shows me. You put out. It's interesting too because now you were not originally from here, but you live out here now, and you've had family out here, right? I remember seeing, and shout out Finally TV, the homie Gabe. That's where I was watching it, so that's where I got a little bit of my research from.
Right.
But so you're not originally from here, and he actually, when he was on here last week, he referenced something you said, and I loved it, and I want to definitely talk about this with you. Is you said that it was something along the lines of a prophet is not welcome in his own home or something like that, right?
Right.
And that's just really pertaining to sort of how difficult it is to get local support.
Right.
And you were talking about you got people overseas who bump your shit, but people who are literally your next door neighbors, you can't get them on board. How do you feel it's been with that struggle? Is it something you've kind of learned to just, you know, take the support as it comes and then just kind of do what you can to get it? Or does it really bother you that the local support isn't as strong as you wish it was?
I'm kind of getting over it now because at the end of the day, you know, you have to remind yourself what your reasons were for getting into music.
Right.
You know, for me, it's like I love doing it, and I had to get back to a place where it's like, as long as I'm reaching someone, you know, obviously I want to make a career out of it, but I just want to reach people and I want to have an impact. So it's like I'm to the point now where it's like the people in my own home, they gonna catch on eventually, you know. And it's like, you know, if I become a super big artist, you know, they're going to get in when they fit in. I'm not going to be mad at them because a lot of times
I feel the same way.
You have to prove yourself to people, you know, especially to people that you know, because it's hard to believe that somebody that you know is going to become the biggest thing in the world one day, you know? So I find that once people see you really doing your thing, and like I got a song with Alex Walsh, who's a famous gospel singer. That's the start. Like if I were to tomorrow to go do a song with Chris Brown, I guarantee you
people will start to pay attention.
Oh my God, that's great.
100%.
So it is what it is, man.
Yes.
It comes with the territory.
Yo, that literally just happened to me, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. So this has been pretty much like local people. And I really appreciate it because I think that the local people deserve the most recognition. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm not willing to put my own people on, then what do I look like attaining, searching to get bigger people.
Right.
But what happened was, I interviewed a UFC fighter over Skype last week.
I saw that one.
And he had actually been somebody who'd been following me for a while, and him and I had talked a few times. So he wasn't somebody I just out of the blue was like, hey man, I like what you do. Can you hop on? I actually knew him a little bit, so he was willing to do it.
Right.
And it's interesting because so many people privately had messaged me like, yo, that's dope that you did that, and people were commenting like, oh, this is big time. And I'm like, I have 7 or 8 episodes with people who you probably know, but this is the one. And I feel the same way that you do in the sense that I'm not mad, I'm not upset. I wish the support would come with or without that. Right. But the truth of the matter is that status matters. Right. And honestly, if I saw somebody doing something, and you're right, if what you're doing, love the music. If you hop on a track with Chris Brown, who wouldn't be automatically more interested? Right. It just immediately you get more interest. And my thing is, as long as it's not, you're not here just for that. However I get you here, if you stick around, I'm gonna be happy.
And that's where I am. That's where I am with it. Like for example, because I've seen this before. Like, I know how it's gonna go. Like I was saying on Finally TV that when I did The Voice on Snapchat, and my coaches were Jennifer Hudson and Blake Shelton. And before that, when I was doing music, a few people were listening to my stuff. But when I did The Voice on Snapchat and they saw me, they were like, literally, I think I posted a video on Facebook, got like 10,000 views. When I tell you people that I haven't talked to in years, it's like started hitting me up in my inbox. And at first I felt away. I was like, man, that's messed up. But then like my mom sat down with me, my brother sat down with me. It's like, dude, that's how it is. And so yeah, on one hand, I wish that, the support would come, but I'm to the point where it's like, all right, it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, I want to spread positive music. I want you guys to be invested in what I'm saying and stuff like that. And however you get there, like you said, it is what it is.
One thing I've noticed too, as I continue to do this stuff, is that you always wish that the support would show in the numbers, because ultimately that's the way that'll help you turn it into a career.
Right.
But it makes you realize, when you start to really tap in, it makes you realize so many people that you don't even understand are actually listening and watching. Yeah. It just doesn't always manifest itself in a view or a stream or something like that, right? Because I've had people tell me like, yo, I saw that episode. Like, people I come across in person, or they'll message me and I'm like, I don't even think you're following me. I don't think you're subscribed. Literally, like, dude. I did not know you even knew I was doing this. But people are watching. And like I said, it probably gets annoying for some people, because I'm always like, don't forget to subscribe. Go like this. Go comment. And it's like, I know it's annoying, but y'all have to understand that that's an imperative part of trying to turn this into a career.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I experienced the same thing. Like, people that I went to high school with, like, that never comment on anything, that never like anything necessarily. But like, I'll see someone in the grocery store and they're like, dude, like, don't forget, it's fire. And I'm like, I didn't even know you knew that I dropped a project. I haven't heard from you in a while. And so and I realized that toward the end of my last project was like, oh, people are actually listening. And of course it feels good when you see it in numbers and streams. But at the end of the day, you never really know your impact that you're having on people. So that's why I think it's just good to, you want to gauge your audience and your followers from a business standpoint. But I think it's good to just continue to just do what you're here to do. You know what I mean?
100%.
And then let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I agree completely. And, one of the things that I noticed too is, like, again, it doesn't always show, but something, no matter whether we like it or not, like, status does matter. Right. So one of the things, and I'll ask you if this is true or not, when you had first gotten any type of music onto Apple or Spotify, did you see a shift then versus when you were just like posting on SoundCloud or Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah. Little stuff like that. That's why I invest so much into. My biggest thing has been thumbnails. So when I post YouTube videos, even for this podcast, I'm very big on the thumbnails. I'm very big on production quality, obviously. I've invested a lot of my money into lighting and microphones and camera and stuff. And it's imperative because, again, like, when I'm making something that looks like somebody with 100,000 would make, then more people will gravitate towards it. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. The substance ultimately is the backbone, right? So if I'm not entertaining, if you're not making good music, then it could look as fancy as possible, but a polished piece of shit is a piece of shit at the end of the day, right? But if you got a good quality product, or whatever you're creating is good, then as long as you have that, you'll always be all right. It's just figuring out ways to get creative to make the other stuff kind of come quicker, right? So like I said, and when you, like your project, for example, did you have somebody make that artwork for you?
Yes. I forget her Instagram name, but she's out of Canada,
Oh,
And
nice.
she does a lot of art, and I was just on Instagram, and I was, hashtags are everything. So I was hashtagging like cover art and stuff like that, or artist or whatever. And I came across her page, and she had some really dope stuff. And I was like, yo, I reached out to her, emailed her, and I was like, I want you to I'm working on a project, explained it to her, gave it a concept, and she came up with something, and I loved it.
Yeah, so I like it too. First of all, purple's like my favorite color, and I just love the color purple, right?
It's like something creative.
Yeah, I love the color purple, so I thought that was cool. But so like I said, like so that project, like okay, you could have been for years posting things on, like I said, like a SoundCloud, right? With your profile picture or your artwork just being a picture,
right?
But suddenly now you're this guy. Now you're not just Alex Simmons, making music on SoundCloud. Now you're Alex Simmons. Find me on Apple Music and Tidal and Spotify, and I got this dope cover art. And everything looks like literally, bro, if I went on your thing on Apple Music right now, it looks no different than a Chris Brown or anybody else's on there.
Right.
The artwork, everything looks from top to bottom
right.
like somebody who's been doing this for a while, somebody who's big time in it.
Yeah.
So is that something that you also, consciously invest in, is just the quality of how it looks as well?
You have no idea. My mom she kills me about it sometimes, because certain things, when you're striving for that level of excellence, it costs money, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, I'll spend money. I don't mind investing in myself to make sure that it comes out. I give you great quality. Like my mom was like, why do you have to go pay this much for a video or whatever? And of course, if I can get the biggest bang for my buck, I will. But it's
Absolutely.
like, Mom, you got to understand, I want people to like be able to listen to my music and hear a difference from the other up and coming artists. I want people to watch my video, because it's like we're in Kingston, like, everybody does videos in Kingston. Everybody, has a friend that has a little camera that films, and not shooting anybody, but
but when you're doing something a lot of people are doing, you have to separate yourself. It has nothing to do with being better or worse, but it's just being different.
Yeah, so it's like, even when my approach when it comes to making music, when it comes to doing videos, it's like, dude, I'm gonna make sure that it sounds different sonically. The mix is great, the master is great, the video is great. So you're like, yo, that dude, he's about his shit. Like, he's, he takes this stuff seriously. So,
and it goes to show, man, because like I said, when you listen to that project, it's just very polished. It is very, like you said, sonically, it's great. Who mixes and masters your stuff? You do yourself?
I do, but what's funny about this project? Because when I record music, like, it's weird. A part of my, like, it's hard for me to separate the creative side from the technical aspect of, like, mixing and recording myself. So I kind of mix as I go. Funny thing about when people tell me that this project sounds really good sonically, it makes me feel good, because I didn't actually get to mix this project, because I had everything backed up on an external hard drive. And I had like the bounces. Once I complete a song, I'll bounce it, and I'll listen to it just like for mixing purposes, so I know what to do. So I literally downloaded or bounced everything, put it on my phone, and put the sessions on a hard drive. My hard drive crashed, and I lost all of my
I've been
sessions
there.
and my masters. So I couldn't even mix the song. So what you hear on my project is literally unmixed music that just happens to sound good.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
wow. Yeah, I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah. So so for people who say, yo, it sounds really good, I'm like, thank you. In the back of my head, I'm like, it's not mixed, but thanks. I'll take it.
That's dope, man. But see, that's the thing. Like, and I used to get so like, because I've had it happen, technical difficulties, and I used to get so. It's just upsetting, because you want a quality product. It's your like your little baby, it's your project. Right. And so when I make things like videos and stuff like that, and I lose something, I get so upset. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what though? Here's what I have to work with. I got to make something of it. So like perfect example, I had the homie Meeks on here a couple weeks ago.
That's my guy. Shout out Meeks.
Yes, sir. And something happened when I got a whole different computer. I exchanged my computer just to have a bigger hard drive. But basically what was happening was, every time I'd record a video and I would go to edit it in Final Cut, the render files take up hundreds of gigabytes, right? Like, so and a 4K video for a hour-long podcast is probably about 30, 40 gigs of footage. Yeah. And then you topple that with the 100-plus gigabytes of render files, and I had a 256 gigabyte, solid state. So I'm like, when I tell you every episode was getting this close to the point where sometimes I had to go in and just delete very small things, right? And then go in and delete old render files. Like, I was just making it work every time though. And in my head, I'm like, I'll wait. Right. But then what happened with the Meeks one was, I was in the process of exporting the audio, and it crashed because it didn't have enough space. So I lost mine. Luckily, it was mine. I would much rather have my guest audio being present, because I'm asking questions. It's more about the person sitting across from me. But I said to myself, I'm like, you know what? this whole episode is not done. Like, whatever. I'll take the camera and I'll just leave his audio on. Because I was like, do I either want to have the whole first half be just camera audio,
right,
so it's balanced,
right,
or would I rather have mine be just what his mic picked up? And I had to make the choice, and I was like, I'd rather have it be what his mic picked up because I want him to come through crystal clear. It's about him.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm doing. This is the episode is for him.
Right.
So that's what I did, and people had no complaints. And his episode did awesome. It's still doing very good. Yeah. And people had no complaints. So. And that kind of stuff just happens. Like I said, and you learn from it each time. Like I was telling you before, like having the lamp be an eyesore in the corner or having a camera overheat. And now I got to do some research to figure out how to avoid that and change settings and all that stuff. So it's a process, man. And people don't realize it.
I was going to say that. It is a lot because, as you know, my mom does a podcast and I'm the creative director for her podcast. So like I do the video and edit audio and all that stuff too. People don't understand how much work actually goes into
idea.
It. Like, and I'll say, like, recording is one thing. Filming is one thing. Bro, post-production and editing.
Oh, my goodness.
It is a pain. And so, like, people, they watch the video and they're like, well, I don't care if it's a little 4-minute music video or if it's an hour podcast or whatever the case may be. It takes time because they're looking at 4 minutes. Okay, cool.
The final product.
Right, the final product.
I talk about this all the time.
And it's like, no, bro, you don't understand. That man probably spent hours on that. You know what I mean? So... I get it, man.
100%.
I respect you for what you do, brother. I do.
I'll tell you, man. And it's funny because I actually just made a video yesterday about it to try to give people some insight. Because I said, and I feel, I feel foolish for not realizing this earlier on. And obviously, once you do it, you have a way better understanding. But that's kind of the perspective I'm trying to pass on to other people. Is like I now have a greater appreciation for everybody who does everything. Right. And I'll tell you something. If somebody made a song and I thought it was trash, I would never say that.
Right.
Because I'm like, you know what? This person worked hard on it.
Right.
And even if I don't think it's a good project, even if it's not, even if it's just bad work, it might just be bad work.
Right.
I'm not going to say nothing because the amount of work this person put in alone commands the respect of at least just leaving them alone about it. If you don't have nothing to say, don't say nothing at all about it.
And I've been in positions like that. I've had people actually ask me what I thought about it. And my thing is, I'll never say it's trash. I'll say it's not for me, but I'll say keep going, bro. Keep going. Don't
right, because that's the thing too. Hey, who the fuck am I? Like,
right.
It's funny because people will approach me like this kind of stuff, or like when I was making, when I make comedy sketches, they're like, "Do you think this is funny?"
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not the fucking king of comedy.
Right.
I think certain things are funny.
Right.
I think certain things are not funny.
Right.
I might have a better perspective than your average person, but at the end of the day, it's, I came up with this quote, and I always said, "Don't let somebody else's flavor leave a bad taste in your mouth."
Absolutely.
And I you know what I'm saying? And I thought about that because I'm like, damn, like how many times do we get upset about the way other people live life? And I'm like, if it doesn't affect me and what you're doing is not like wrong or immoral,
right,
do you? It might not be for me, like you said, but hey, keep it going. Somebody's gonna like it.
And it's cool to go along with that. Like for example, there's this artist out of Florida. His name is DC3. Shouts out DC3. I've known him for a while. And he kind of looked up to me musically for years. And I remember when he first started recording music, and he was new at it, so he had to develop and stuff like that. So he would send me stuff. He would send videos of him singing, and I'd be like, "Bro, keep going, keep going, keep going." He actually just dropped a video called Week, DC3 Week. He sampled SWV Week, and today he sounds incredible. You know what I mean? And it's like that's my thing. It's like when it comes to artists who want to pursue music, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody's going to start out being the greatest artist in the world. Like people, even when people drop their first projects, like you're hearing it being their first project, but it took them their entire life to make that project.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know, like they may have been developing behind the scenes, and once they got in front of you, you know what I mean? Like they sound great, like a Bryson Tiller or whatever the case may be. So I agree with you just to reiterate that point. Like people, you got to start somewhere, and instead of just knocking people, artists who may not be the best, encourage them and say, "Yo, keep doing your thing, bro." And that's the type of time that I'm on.
I'm right there with you, man. And I think one of the most important things about it, and this is so true for me, is that my thing is always be willing to learn something. Always be willing to be critiqued and critique yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people, the issue is they can't find a balance. They either don't want to be told that they're doing something wrong, or they think everything they're doing something wrong.
Right.
But my thing is like this, like, look, if I'm shooting for 100% and I get 70, I'm not going to look at it like, damn, I'm looking like, all right, I got 70 out of 100.
Right.
That's 70%. I'm appreciating the 70, and I'm working to get the rest of the 30 for the next time around, right? Because I think a lot of times people, when they do critique themselves, it's just like they can't find. For me, I'm like, oh, this was good, that was bad, this was good, that was bad. Let's build upon the good and let's go correct the bad stuff. Right. But I'm always learning. That's why when I had Gabe on, that was one of my favorite episodes. Not to say any other ones weren't good, but that was one of my favorite because he's been doing this for even longer than I had realized before he was sitting here, right? And there were so many things that I told him, and he might have even been surprised. I'm like, I've been paying so much attention to. I'm like, little things that he does, from the name of the thing, how it came about, the way that his cue cards have his logo on it, his setup. I brought up how I like his orange setup, and he went into how that was a planned out thing, and that's just another thing that shows like we don't realize what goes into it. If you really care about your work, every little thing is so detailed. Like I said, like this setup here, like it seems so simple to some people, but everything has a purpose, right? Everything was meticulously planned out and sought out. But yeah, I'm really big on that. It's like, again, like a song, 4-minute song could have taken you months to put together.
Literally, people don't know, man. And to go along with what you're saying, like saying everything like plays a part and has a purpose, dude. Your podcast looks fucking incredible, bro.
Appreciate that,
online
man.
When you watch that shit. And like my thing is like I have obviously respect for anybody who pursues their craft. But it just hits different when you like watch somebody's shit, when you listen to somebody's music, and you're like, oh, they do this for real, like they know what they're doing. And I got that from you, like even your interviewing style and how you conduct conversations with artists. I'm like, oh, he knows what he's doing, and that made me excited to even reach out to you and be like, bro, I want to come on your show, like I want.
And I love that you did, and I've been hitting people up. First of all, it's helping me build so many connections that without having done this, I probably never would have otherwise built, and that's making me so happy. But the thing is, like, I keep telling people, like, this was not. I mean, when I tell you literally 7 weeks ago, this was not something I had envisioned. It was not something I had envisioned, right? And like, it's good because everything is coming together now. Like, people are supporting. I'm meeting new people. I'm collaborating. I'm making projects. I'm having these great experiences. But it's just one of those things. Like I said, it's I'm very much a throw everything at the wall and see what sticks type of dude, right? And if it don't stick, I'm gonna let it hit the floor. And if it does stick, I'm gonna pick it up and be like, all right, what can we do with this, right? And this was one of those things where, like, when I had at January 1, I was like, okay. Really the whole reason I wanted to have people on was because I was just tired of coming up with content myself, honestly. For a podcast, like a YouTube video, like one of my podcast episodes could have been broken into like 8 or 10 YouTube videos. So I'm like, damn, once a week by myself, and I don't live an extravagant life, right? If I'm some celebrity and I got endless means, I could talk about a lot of shit, but I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Another regular day at work? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to put some gas in my car today, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but when I started, I was like, okay, if I can get 2 guests, and initially I'm like, some friends just to come through and chop it up. If I can get 2 guests a month, then that would be great. That would be half the amount of solo content. And then also the solo content would be double the content because it'd be 2 weeks that I'd have to do it. And then all of a sudden I have a friend of mine on, my friend Day in there, and shout out to her. And then I had Sims on. And he was my first actual interview I've ever done. So, like, when I tell you, literally, you're like, it's probably like 9 or 10th interview, probably. And I realized, I'm like, I've always known I was good at talking to people, and I've always been in front of the camera and doing, like, different stuff. But it was just never something I had ever thought about. And then I started doing it, and I'm like, wow, I just hit the ground running. Like, now this has become, like, a very important thing. Like, I love doing this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But it's weird how those things kind of just come to you, you know?
It's cool. It's cool how it happens, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, like, for example, when my mom did the cipher with me, and it's entitled the Big 7 Challenge, but Kill Big 7 Challenge. We were just joking around, like we were literally in our living room. My little cousin Shakai came over, and we weren't in the greatest mood. My cousin had just passed, and I was like, you know what, dude, like let's do something. I was like, let's make a rap video or something, you know. And so we did it. They wrote their raps in probably like 30 minutes, maybe. I wrote mine really quick, and we recorded it. We took the video, and then we threw it out there. This page picked it up. They reposted it. Today, right now, we're at like 835,000 views on the video.
Wow!
Did not expect it. And now people are in the comments like, dude, we want to hear like Ma Dukes do another one, or we want her to drop a whole mixtape. And we're like, dude, we didn't plan for that. Like, we're literally just having fun, you know. So it's crazy how things work out, bro.
That type of stuff is cool, man. Something I was really I'm really curious about. So, do you entirely write your own music, or do you collaborate with people? And also, just before I let you answer that, one thing I've come to realize is like, I think people underestimate how many times songs are written by multiple people. And also, I'm the type of person, I'm like, I think I have some great ideas, but if I'm in a room with like-minded people, we're going to make some fucking magic. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So do you write most of your music by yourself? Do you write a lot with people? How do you go about the writing process?
Most of it is me. Because I don't like splitting checks.
Yeah.
No, I'm playing. No. But most of it is me. But I will never turn down making music with some talented people. Mm-hmm. You know, like when it comes to this project, I think it was all primarily me, other than the features, because this is the most personal project that I've ever done, and I really had a lot to say on this project. But like, I love working with talent, and it's funny because being in the business, right? Like, a lot of times when you're moving around, you have to think with a business mind.
Absolutely.
So like a lot of times people will collab with people just off of the strength of it's a great business move. Mm-hmm. And like if like, for example, if someone approaches them about doing a song and they're like, oh no, I'm not interested in doing a song because you're not big enough or whatever the case may be. My thing is I will do a song with just about anybody. If you're talented, bro.
Yeah, right. If the product is going to be good.
Word. And if I'm inspired, I'm going to do it, bro. You don't got to like necessarily, like right now, I may or may not be working on something to drop later this year. Even though I just dropped the project.
Oh, y'all done heard it here first. That's a May.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so he got it. But yeah, like I love working with other artists, man. And let me tell you something. There is nothing wrong with collaborating with artists. I know there's the whole ghostwriting thing, and people look down upon it and frown upon it. And I get what they mean when they say, like, if you pride yourself on being the best rapper.
Right. But see, rap is different. Like, when you sing, that requires a vocal talent, right?
Absolutely.
Literally anybody can rap because that's the talent you need is lyrics. Right? So when you're singing, though, like, honestly, I think if a person entirely wrote a song for someone and that person that was singing it could sing their ass off way better than the person who wrote it, that's just two great people both doing what they do best coming together.
But even with rap, though, because, like, rap, like, my thing is, if somebody wrote your rap, some people are great at writing. Mm-hmm. Some people are great studio artists, but everybody can't perform and shit.
Yeah, that's true. Like, exactly.
So
yeah.
And somebody said something about Drake. They said, listen, if somebody has been writing for Drake his entire career, which obviously they haven't, if somebody has, he may be the best at making people think that it's his own because he performs the shit out of it. You know what I'm saying? So like even if like you're receiving, because I've been in studio sessions with rappers and they'll write a verse, and primarily the verses, all of them, it's fire. And I might be like, yo, bro, instead of saying this, why don't you say this? You know what I'm saying? And they'll be like, oh, cool, that's dope. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the only issue is when people claim that they do. But even with the Drake thing, like, people aren't coming out like, I write my own raps. And it's like, oh, this dude wrote from. But to piggyback on your point, you know, again, if somebody like a Drake, if somebody's been writing his raps his whole life, right? And they're great. If that person could perform like him, they wouldn't write his raps. Right?
Absolutely,
they would be their raps.
Because
that person can't do that.
Right, everybody can't do what Drake can do. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny because you find that the majority of the people who have a problem with it are like older hip hop heads. You know, nowadays kids don't care.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They don't care who wrote it.
They just want to hear good music. That's it.
Absolutely, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, man, as long as it's good. I mean, yeah, give credit to the guy who wrote it too. Shout him out. But as long as it's good, I don't care who wrote it.
Yeah,
just give me
100%, man. So let's get back just real quick to the guts of this project. So you said it means a lot to you. Tell me what it means to you. What does this project mean to you? What kind of stuff are you talking about on the album?
This project is it means everything to me. I've been going through a lot for the past 2 years. You know, I've had friends that I've lost. I've had family that I've lost. I've built relationships and trusted people that have turned their backs on me, and I'm talking about it on this project. I'm in love. I have a beautiful girlfriend.
That's what's up, man. That's a good feeling.
And so I'm talking about her on this project. And you know, my approach to this project was all that I mentioned, but it was more so like, I've gotten the opportunity to see a lot and learn a lot these past 2 years about life, about myself. And sometimes I sit back and I say this, I think in an interlude, but sometimes I sit back and look at the world. People may not notice about me. I'm a very, I have a big heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And sometimes I look back and I look at the world in the state of the world, and it makes me really sad.
Yeah, man, that's a fact.
And it's like the way my brain processes in the way I think. I just it's as simple as, why can't people love each other? Why can't people be kind to each other?
100%, man.
In my mind, in the world that I live in, when you walk down the street and someone walks past you, you say hi and you smile. You know what I'm saying? Or how are you today? If you're at the bus stop and you're waiting for your bus, you know what I mean? Or you hold the door for somebody, you know? And so on this project, I'm talking about like the state of the world where it is. I'm talking about being in love. I'm talking about past relationships with friends, with family, you know, making mistakes. I'm talking about a lot on this project. So it was just really personal to me. It was therapy for me, and I'm glad the way it came out, and I'm glad that people are receiving it as well as they are, you know?
Yeah, that's true, man. And like I said, you know, a lot of times I think that, you know, because obviously the beat is incredibly important to a song, but I think a lot of times we let the beat just kind of be all that matters. Right. And you hear stuff, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of music today that is nothing, you know, it's the beat and then just a couple of words. Right. But there's a lot of music, and this is why I have such an appreciation for R&B, because not to say that it doesn't happen in rap, it didn't used to be that way, but a lot of the way that a lot of rap is now, and again, you talk about the younger generation and stuff like that, it's a lot more about, you know, making a bop, you know, than it is making something that really touches people. Right. But I think R&B still kind of preserves that, although R&B is different now than it used to be. Yeah. But I think R&B, I've just always liked that because, you know, and everybody thinks like, oh, R&B, it's all about like sex and love. But it's like, nah, man, if you listen to some of these R&B songs, like people are really putting their heart into this music, you know, and you can tell that that's exactly what you did. Yeah. And when you can sing it too, that's the thing, you know. I think when somebody raps, you can hear emotion in their voice, but I think you could just hear it a little bit better when somebody's singing, just because you're presenting the vocals in a different way. Right. So a lot of times when I hear people, you can hear that just in the tone of somebody's voice, you know, like how they felt, because when you write it, right, and then you're singing it and you're singing out your lyrics, as you sing it or as you read it, you have to be experiencing that emotion. Absolutely. And it shows in music. So if it's a heartbreak song, you might hear a little bit more tremble in your voice. You might hear, you know, it might be a different type of way. If it's something that's about the best moments, it's more upbeat, you know, and maybe you're singing a little bit faster and stuff like that. Right. So just and again, maybe it's just because now that I do more things and I have a great appreciation for the ins and outs of stuff, but that kind of stuff, at least to me, means a lot, because again, it's like, you know, this person didn't just sit down and write some shit about loving and fucking somebody. Right. They writing about their life. This is important to them. And you know,
and literally like this project, I the last song on the project entitled "Suicide Note," I had to make that song because I literally, bro, I was losing my mind. Like I was about to, like I damn near, like as I'm recording the song and rapping, I'm damn near crying. Mm-hmm. Yes, men do cry.
That's a fact. We out here for men's health advocates.
That don't mean I'm soft. My hands still work. I'm just saying. But I was damn near crying, like recording a song, and I was like, bro, I have to get this off my chest. And you can hear it, like, and like even in the R&B music, like that, I have some up tempo stuff too. Like there's a song on the project called "On My Mind" where it's like a Caribbean vibe, but like still I'm talking about something. I'm singing. I'm talking about love, you being on my mind. And it's every song on this project has a purpose. And every song on this project is authentic and comes from a real place inside of me. It's not just let's just put out a smash. You know what I mean? If it becomes a smash, great. That means that my authenticity
is what made it the smash.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and I think people more often than not gravitate towards authenticity, especially in the world we live in, where, you know, a lot of people are under this impression that everything you see on social media is accurate. And people who know for real, we all know that ain't the fact, you know? And a lot of things that people put up is a facade. My biggest thing is, now, the way that I do it was through comedy, and I think that's actually, in my opinion, that's the easiest way to do it. Right. Because it's therapeutic for me in the sense that I always find ways, not to hide it, like I'm like covering it up or ignoring it, but I sincerely, like when something bad happens, I'm like, this shit gonna happen to me. Right. And I just laugh about it because I'm like, this is the type of shit that happened to me. I'm like, I can't, my life is not, it ain't over. I can't be upset about this. Like, I just have to laugh. Like, literally, bro, no exaggeration. When I woke up this morning, my cat shitted on my fucking bed, bro. So I wake up this morning, right? I wake up, I twisted my ankle last night. So my ankle got a fucking lump on it, right? Jesus. Wake up, ankle hurt, shit on my bed, right? I'm late to work, you know what I'm saying? I fucking dropped my iPad on my foot, my hurt foot, bro. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this only happened to me. Like, this shit is funny, like, right? And now that's going to be a joke somewhere down the line. Right. You know what I'm saying? But So for me, the authenticity is important though, because a lot of people, I always tell people, like, I have no shame in this. I am the happiest person I know personally.
Right.
I've never been depressed, which is something I think not a lot of people could say.
Right.
And I find myself very fortunate for that, because I think almost everybody experiences it.
Right.
But I would never pretend to, and I haven't.
Right.
But it's important for me to. I always say I want people to feel how I feel on almost every daily basis, because I feel good almost every day,
Absolutely.
and I want to pass it on to people. Like you said, I want to pass that on to people, right? But the authenticity. If I wasn't authentic, and I always think to myself, I couldn't imagine living a life where I'm not 100% me. Absolutely. And that's why people are not happy. If your life is a facade, if you're doing things to achieve a lifestyle that's not actually 100% you, then everything you're doing is all for naught, right? So for me, I'm like the embarrassing, the weird, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. It's all me, and it has to all be present 100% of the time. You know what I mean?
And I've experienced that going through my journey when I first started like trying to actually pursue music for real, because you have these ideas of what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to look like and act like when you're an artist, right? Like, for example, my first project, I was traveling a lot and I was dressed in a certain way, and I was wearing certain clothes, and I was acting a certain kind of way because I thought that that's what I had to do. Bro, I was so depressed, like, trying to do that, because it's like you have to keep, every time you step out of the house, you have to maintain that image.
Yeah, so because like now people are going to start to expect it.
Absolutely. So now it's just like, bro, brand myself as me. I don't want to brand a character. I want to brand myself. So like now, if I'm wearing what I'm wearing, if I got a chain on, it's because I feel like wearing the chain. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, not because I feel like I have to. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important, and I think people can, well, at least real people know when you're not really being real.
That's the thing too. I think people are like, oh no, I can get away with it. People know, like right away. I look at someone and be like, he ain't really about that life.
Literally,
like he can't really do that. That's not really what he enjoys. Like, and especially when it's people, you're like, what? You're not really into that. Like, you're just doing something. And if, like you said, if it's something because it makes you happy, or it's something you want to do, or it's something you actually have interest in, hey, if you're riding the wave, you have to do it to some extent, right? So I'm totally down for that. But if you're doing it just to fucking do it, right?
Yeah.
If you want to start making music just to do it, just because it's a cool thing or something like that, if you have no interest in it whatsoever, why? Like, it's not making you happy. If you're just doing it because it's the cool thing to do, what's the point of doing that, right? And people can tell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So rewind it back a little bit. The voice on Snapchat. You know what's crazy? I swear to God, I searched for half an hour last night. I couldn't find any of your video of it.
Yeah.
You can't really actually find much of anything. I was on YouTube and I was on NBC's website. You cannot. I didn't know it was a thing until I saw you mention it on Finally TV. What is that exactly?
It was literally only on Snapchat. So like, you know how Snapchat like does these promo things?
Yeah.
Or the subscription stuff. Like it. You play it and it expires.
Yeah.
But I actually have footage from it. Someone posted it. I actually still have all the footage or whatever that I can send. But
I would love to see that, because I was really looking at it. I couldn't find it. I'm like, I'm typing. I'm like Alex Simmons, the voice Snapchat, and then I'm like, you said 2017, and I'm like, I think that was the first season that they did it. So I'm like typing in season 1 stuff. Like, bro, I was dead ass last night looking for this shit, because I just wanted to see you on there. And I'm like, okay, if you got coaches, you had to have made it past the first initial thing, because you don't get the coaches without doing that. So I'm like, all right, he made it past the first. How the fuck can't I find his footage? Like,
so like, I actually had somebody send me a link, because when it was on Snapchat and it was exclusively on Snapchat, I like screen recorded it, like the episodes.
Yeah, smart.
And it worked out horrible because it was crappy quality. And so like the screen was fuzzy or whatever. And somebody was like, yo, you're the guy off of the voice on Snapchat. And I was like, yeah, who are you? And they're like, I forget what their name was, but they were like, here's a link of like the actual like footage of you being on Snapchat.
So they do have it.
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's somewhere. I'd have to find it, but I saved it to my computer and download the video. I think it was on like Daily Motion or something like that, and I downloaded. So I actually had the video footage personally, but they had to let me know where it was, and so I went and I downloaded it, and I reposted it on my page a few times, and it was a good experience, man. Like I think my partner, his name was Sean Rogers, and he bodied me on. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell a quick story. Sean tricked me. And it's all love, Sean. You know I love you, brother. But Sean tricked me. Sean hit me up and say, yo, Alex, because the way I was looking at it, because like we had to partner up, so we were on teams. So it was us versus another team. So Sean was like, yo, Alex, man, you mind if we like lower the key of the song because I got a cold, right? And I was like, all right, cool. And we didn't record the video together. Like he recorded his part, I recorded my part, and they merged it. So I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, I don't want to outshine Sean because we're a team. Like I want to balance it out, you know, like so I was chilling. I was doing a little bit. I saw Sean's footage and Sean bodied it. And I said, this nigga ain't sick. I said, you mean to tell me I pulled back? And then he won it and went to the next round. He actually almost won the entire thing. But it was a good experience, man. I had fun. I got a lot of exposure from it. It was cool.
So what was it? Just like, because like I said, I used to watch The Voice, but I never heard of The Voice on Snapchat. So I'm looking into it a little bit. Literally, was it just like you came across it and it's like, they have auditions running until a certain time and you just record a Snapchat and send it?
I forgot how I did it, actually. Jesus, that's a good question. I don't even remember. I might have I think I saw like a link or an ad that it was a sponsored ad that they were promoting from The Voice Facebook. And it was like The Voice on Snapchat. And I think they created it for people who don't necessarily have the means to actually travel to different cities to audition. So this is like everybody does social media. So we'll set it up. So you actually had to record a video. That's what it was. They sent you a link to a website. You had to record a video, fill out this form, upload the video, and send it to their database. And they took it, and if you did well, they picked you. But what they would do is they had you give information for somebody that like the email of your, like I gave my mom's email. So what my mom had to do is my mom knew for a few days that I had gone to the next level. But she couldn't tell me because she had to like record my reaction.
Oh, that's smart.
So they sent her an email telling her what to do. It was like, we need you to tell him that he won, tell him who his judges are or who his coaches are, and record his reaction. So I was actually about to go do a show somewhere, and we were outside just chilling, and Mom was like, hey, Alex, she had the camera on. I'm thinking that she's getting some promo stuff for social media or whatever. She was like, hey, Alex, what's up? And she was like, I just wanted to let you know that you were selected on The Voice on Snapchat. Your coaches are going to be Blake Shelton and Jennifer Hudson. And I lost my mind.
He was like, what
are you kidding me? And so that's how that happened, man. And it was a great experience, dude.
So for them as your coaches, just to talk more about the experience, is it something where, did you actually have a direct interaction, like a FaceTime or something? Or is it kind of like they send you video coaching? I mean, either way, to be honest with you, that would be incredible.
Right.
So how did that go, and what did you take from that?
So they have producers, and I didn't actually have like a one-on-one face-to-face interaction or Skype interaction with them. That came if you like the further you got.
Right, which makes sense.
Right. So like I got to the second round, so the producers would give us pointers and stuff like that. I forget her name, but she would email us and tell us what we need to do. She'd call us or whatever, and she would give us pointers. They would give her pointers to give us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how that happened. Sean, he went to the next level, or the next round, and they flew him along with a few others out to LA to actually meet all the coaches. So that was cool.
But you know what though, that kind of experience, and it's really good that you can appreciate that, because again, you could very easily have a mindset like, damn, I didn't win it, this, fuck it, or something like that. But it's taking those little wins. And I'll tell you something interesting. I was just talking to a friend of mine about this yesterday. I actually think that you're much more likely to have sustainable long-term success if it took you longer to get there.
Right.
Because the thing is, now imagine this, right? Everybody thinks the ideal, because everybody wants that immediate satisfaction. So everybody probably thinks, oh, if I could literally have overnight success, if I could blow up overnight, that would be great. But imagine this right now, right? Where you are right now. Imagine tomorrow. Seriously, imagine this. If you woke up with 500,000 followers, hundreds of thousands of streams, and all this, how would you handle that? I mean, honestly, it seems ideal, but right now, if you woke up tomorrow and your life went from this to that, how would you handle it?
I probably wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know what to do with it. I don't even know how I would process it. I don't know if I would appreciate it as much as if I had to, like, as I would if I had to build it over time. I probably would be stupid and reckless with my platform.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Now imagine if it took you years to get there, because the thing that people don't realize is, like, again, going from, let's just say that success is a scale of 0 to 10. If you're a 2 one day and you wake up tomorrow and you're a 10, you have to all of a sudden experience what it's like to be a 3 through 9 in an instant. Yeah. But if you work your way up the rungs, by the time you get there, you've already experienced all that. So, and you have all of that knowledge and experience to bring with you, right?
That's a good point.
So I thought about, because you know what? It made me realize, because again, like I'm into the space of comedy, and I've seen a lot of one-hit wonders when it comes to like IG comedians. Right. You know, Ice JJ Fish, ATL, or whatever the fuck that guy's name was. The dude was like, right?
Don't even remember.
And you see a lot of these people who they make a viral video and it goes viral, and the next day all of a sudden they have hundreds of thousands of followers. Right. You don't see many of those people stick around because you can't go from not even doing that stuff or just getting into it to being a huge person in that space overnight, because you need those experiences as you go through. Right. And that's, I feel like, applies to anything.
Right.
But it is an interesting concept. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm like, wow, you know what? Like, I can appreciate, and again, like, you know, I've been involved with like social media stuff for a long time, and I'm like, if this had, now this is happening quick, this transition, because like I said, I went from wanting 2 people a month to doing 2 episodes a week. Right. That happened quick. I'm so much more prepared to handle it now because I had done social media stuff, video and audio for a long time, not to this level yet, but I had been doing it a long time, so I was able to take a lot of that knowledge and figure out these shortcuts, figure out how to manage time and all that, as opposed to if I went from my first episode to this right now and skipped everything in between, I don't know how I would adjust.
You wouldn't have learned as much, and you wouldn't have gotten the experience. And like, I was just talking about this with somebody. It reminds me of Silento. I think that's his name.
Yeah, he made the whip in the name.
Yeah. And no diss to him, but it's like, you know, a lot of times when you know, because it only really takes one song to really pop.
Especially with music. Right. Music is one of those things where you really kind of, because it's a song, you know, or like, again, an Instagram skit, one video can make you go viral overnight.
Right. So like when it happens that fast and you don't get to develop in your craft, like a lot of times you don't know how to sustain. So like for example, and I hate it nowadays when it comes to labels, but back in the day there used to be this thing called artist development, where it's like, if you were a singer, they had you running on the treadmill and running the track singing. They had you like in dance studios. They had you like they media trained you. They really took the time with you to take you from being someone with just talent to being an artist. Nowadays, when it comes to labels and stuff, it's all about the quick dollar. So they really not invested in artists. They just like, yo, I'm invested in what this artist can do for me. They don't care if you have one hit single or one album that does really well and then you never do it again. They don't care because they got their money. Yeah. That's what they own, your masters most of the time. So like they're gonna be getting paid off of it for the rest of time.
Yeah, you know, because the thing that people don't realize is, let's say, like you said, somebody comes out with this crazy good song, even if they're not a developed artist, and this label says, "Oh, we're gonna pluck him. We're gonna pay for him to make a project." Even if the project is shit, people will listen because this one thing is viral. So all we need is for people to listen to this first project. His long-term success, which is entirely based on how this project does, means nothing to us. If it goes well, that's better for us. If it doesn't go well, we drop him like a hot potato and we're on to the next one. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, like you just said. And that's a good insight, especially in the music industry. And again, I'm not in the music space, but from interactions I've had with people, that is one of the most cutthroat industries you could possibly get into.
Dude, I'm not gonna say names, but my brother and I had a meeting with a label, and thank God that my brother, and I'm still learning music business, but thank God that my brother is as knowledgeable when it comes to music as he is. Music business, he's been doing it for a while. My brother, we're talking and talking about terms and conditions, and my brother's asking questions. So my brother was picking the guy's brain. And basically, at the end of the meeting, the guy was intending to provide a space for us to record, give us a platform to distribute our music. But when it comes to our projects, they were going to own the masters. The only thing that we would get paid from would be doing shows. And the only way that we could actually exit our deal is if another label wanted to sign us and paid for us to leave. So we would literally sign and be stuck there, right? And of course, like, I have a little experience. My brother has mad experience. Of course, they don't tell you that, you know. But my brother's like, "Oh no, I know what questions to ask. I know, like, I'm gonna pick your brain. Like, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Like, and so it's sad because a lot of I say that to say a lot of artists who aren't as business savvy, they fall for it.
Yeah, 100%.
They fall for it. They say, and we were coming from the standpoint of you're making it look good, like, oh, you get to record in this nice studio, we have producers, and my brother and I were like, dude, like, we produce ourselves.
Yeah.
I wrote that. You know, that doesn't really impress me. And no disrespect to the guy, but it's like, it's sad because that's the industry that exists today. Mm-hmm. If Def Jam hit me up tomorrow and was like, dude, we want to give you $100,000 to make a project, I would be like, why? $100,000? What is that?
You have to be at least a little cautious. You don't have to be off-putting, but you have to, like you said, perfectly what you said, is you have to ask those questions.
Right.
Now, here's the thing, too. If you and your brother had not had the experience that you had up to that point, and your very first song that you made, the one that you just said a little while ago, you hated it now, like it's not good, you don't think now.
I don't even listen to
if that song had hit, and they hit you up after that song, you would probably be way more likely to have said, I'll sign my name on that line.
Probably.
Right? And I use this example a lot because I think now I'm a huge fan of LeBron. LeBron, the basketball player, but even more so LeBron, the man, the role model, and the public figure, because in my opinion, the man really is just, he represents everything, everything great, especially for black men.
Right.
But the thing with him, I reference his story all the time, is that when he was 18, now he's a different story. He had, public spotlight since the dude was like 13 years old. When he was 18, he had already scheduled to meet with, shoe brands before he had even played a basketball game.
Right.
And he met with Reebok, and Reebok slid him a $10 million check. $10 million. Inner city kid, 18 years old, came from nothing, right?
That's crazy.
And they said, sign your name on this check right now, right? Sign this deal with us, and don't go meet anybody else, and you can have this $10 million. He said no. He went and met with Nike, ended up signing with Nike. Just a few years back, he signed over a $100 million deal with Nike. Now, I'll tell you something. Ain't no way in hell even with knowing what I know right now, ain't no way in hell. An 18 inner city kid, single mom, bro, I would have took that check so fucking quick. And I'm sure he could have helped put Reebok on the map, but with or without LeBron, odds are Reebok was not going to be what Nike is right now. Right. So for him to see that, and again, it's about, do you want the immediate satisfaction, or do you see what it provides in the long term? He could live the rest of his life luxuriously for him and his whole family until the day he dies off that Nike deal alone. And we all know LeBron's got many other forms of income. So to think about stuff like that, it's like, there's too, like you said, that business mind, it's so much more about like, okay, like you said, he clearly thought, okay, why are you willing to pay me $10 million right now?
Right.
I haven't done nothing yet.
Right.
I could injure myself. I could have a career and injure tomorrow. You want to give me $10 million? That means you're clearly scared of what these other people have in store, and you're nervous about what you don't.
Absolutely, and I think that's one lesson that I learned even from my mom. Like, sometimes you have to Sometimes you have to learn how to recognize an opportunity even when there's no dollar amount attached to it.
Yes.
Like, for example, if a label came to me, and I love using Def Jam because I used to look up to Def Jam. If Def Jam came to me and offered me a number, depending on the terms and conditions, I might say no. However, if another label offered me a number that was a little bit lower than Def Jam, but they were really invested in me as an artist and said, dude, we're going to work as hard as we can for you, I'm more likely to sign to that label than I am to the label that's offering me more money, because you may be offering me more money, but what if what you're not telling me is you're offering me $100,000 and you want to sign me to 3 album cycles, and it's like, bro, probably by my first album, after we put money into marketing and promotion and all that stuff, touring, flights and stuff like that, studio time, my budget is used up. So what am I going to do for the next 2 projects? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I encourage artists to try to learn as much as possible. Don't be so starry-eyed at a label wanting to sign you, because honestly, the labels need you. That's what people don't know. You don't need them. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And
you know what? Any of these, talent agencies, labels, management, stuff like that, they are terrified of the fact that it is easier now than it's ever been in the history of humanity to put yourself out there through social media, through these free platforms, and that scares the hell out of them. So that's why they offer the big bucks, because they're like, look, Alex could right now take the next couple of years, build himself up. I mean, great example. Chance the Rapper won a fucking Grammy, and the dude is not signed to a label.
Right.
And he has been a champion of that idealism for a long time. And it's not wrong that people are. And there's a lot of people who do wonderful. Yeah. But again, it's all what people are looking for. But when you think about it, it's like these people are like, oh, we're going to pay him because he's going to go out there and make this much money. But if we make it seem like he needs us, we're going to help him get there faster. We'll make it better. It's great to be attached to this Def Jam or Atlantic or whatever it is. That's how they reel you in. But like I said, it's all about, you have to have the confidence and potential in yourself.
Absolutely.
And it's about the long term. Like you said, like right now, if somebody came up to you and you're like, you know what though? I think that if I just keep grinding myself, I'll be able to retain 100% of the income, the masters, and all that stuff, as opposed to, okay, I do it now. That puts money in my pocket right now. But then, like you said, after the first project or after a year or two, my budget's used up. I don't own my music.
Right.
Imagine being in that position. You kicking your ass over it.
And that's the beautiful thing. And I love that you use Chance the Rapper because I really look up to him. Like, Chance the Rapper is winning, my guy, because Chance the Rapper, being as big as he is, pause, like, he owns all of his... Chance the Rapper is making money right now, dog. Like, because he's not signed to a label, and he still distributes his music. I don't know if he still does it to this day, but he was on the Joe Budden podcast talking about how he still distributes his music through TuneCore, where he pays out of his pocket, and all of the proceeds that he gets goes to him, and then he splits it with his team and all of that stuff. But it's like whereas it's a different time now. Whereas back in the day, way back then, it was hard to even get into a studio if you weren't signed to a label. Whereas now, people have studios in their bedrooms.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? People can... It's as simple as an upload button when it comes to distributing music. You know what I'm saying? And I think labels know that, but I think labels prey on the people who aren't as knowledgeable when it comes to the business. And I say right now, I'll take 2 seconds to look at the camera. If you are an artist... Do your homework.
Absolutely.
Do your homework.
Imperative.
Yes, do your homework, and don't be so fast to just sign on the dotted line because somebody offering you a check. You know?
And you know what's the funny thing? Like I said, I use these examples. There are so many. You know how many people? You know how many? Like, again, social media personalities, social media comedians and actors who Netflix and Hulu reach out to put in projects.
Right.
How many quote unquote SoundCloud rappers who these people want on, performing shows, and they want on their labels and all that stuff. And it's like, if you hold out, if you stay true to yourself and you grind, you're gonna get that bag.
Absolutely.
Because when Netflix comes after you because they need you, and that's a known fact between both parties, you got way more leverage.
Absolutely.
If the thought process on one end is, oh, I need them, you lose leverage. But if it's like, oh, look, we could definitely use each other. Don't get me wrong. Netflix is gonna pay me a bag. I'm gonna be in a Netflix movie. Y'all need me. I got hundreds of thousands, and they're gonna rock with me.
It's a completely different experience, and it's a way better position to be in. Like, okay, yes, if Netflix reached out to me, great, awesome. Netflix is reaching out to me, but if it's more so, if they're presenting like, yo, dude, I know that you need me a lot more than I need you, and so like you signing with us, signing the deal with us would be us doing you a favor. Then you ain't really got much room to negotiate anything. Whereas if you need me, it's like, all right, cool, let's talk some business. So what we doing? You know what I mean? And you 100%. Can start demanding a lot more.
100%, man. Listen, this has been some good conversation, man. I love chopping up with people, and I think you're a really intelligent guy, and I think that you just I think you see the world in a similar way that I do. Like, and when you're talking about like the way that you see things and the vision stuff, and I'm just a big champion of like just be good to people, man. Like, and it's one of those things. I forget where the quote came from. I don't remember. For some reason, I keep thinking Tupac. I could be completely off, but it's like one of those things where it's like, if we want to change the world, we got around us, we got to change the world, change ourselves, something like that, right? And it's like it starts with you. And I used to always think like on a grander scale, I'll always be sad that the world isn't a better place. But in my head, I'm like, if I could do my part, that's what I can affect. I can't make the whole world a better place, but I can make the world around me a better place.
Absolutely.
And if more people started to do that, then slowly but surely the world will become a better place.
And that's my motto. That I think it was Changes that Tupac said that on. That is my. And funny enough that you mentioned that real quick, because I actually sampled Changes. I don't know if I should say that because I'm probably gonna get in trouble. I didn't pay for the sample. I didn't clear it. My bad. I love you guys. But anyways,
ain't no worry about that.
it was Changes by Tupac. That he said that on, and ironically enough, I sampled that on my first song on Don't Forget the project. And that's my motto. That's my motto. It's like, yo, the world, it's time for us to like start playing our part to like to try to make it a better place, man.
We're spending too much time complaining about it, we're not doing that.
Absolutely. And that's what I will always do until until I have no more breath in my body. I promise that.
100%, man. Look, I appreciate you coming out, especially being sick, man. I really appreciate you coming and rocking and showing us some love. And before I let you go, where can the people listen to your music, and where can they find you and get in contact with you?
They can find me they can listen to my music everywhere: Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Deezer, Amazon. Alex Simmons, don't forget. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. My Instagram, Twitter is It's Alex Simmons.
That'll be right here, as always.
Editing. And you can
shout out to future me.
You can check me out on YouTube, Alex Simmons. As a matter of fact, just make it simple. Just Google me, Alex Simmons, don't forget, and you'll find me everywhere.
Well, there you go. Well, don't forget to Google Alex Simmons. You heard it here first. Appreciate you coming on, man. And as always, I will see y'all next week.
Hey, yo, baby.
Oh, hey, did you like the episode? I hope you did. And if you did, then maybe check out this one. Or you can always check out this one too. Take your pick. Did you pick one yet? You got this one. You've got this one.